Howdy everyone, and I'm back with another Christmas craft idea. I am going to be making a centerpiece, and I'm going to be using this tin container. It's like a little bucket, a long little bucket. You can use any long container that you may find, if it's plastic or ceramic or a metal. And now I had this one and I've had it for quite some time, and as you can see, it's kind of gotten a little bit of a patina to it, a little bit of scratchy bits and rust, but you know what, I like that about it. And look at the inside, a little dirty. I've used it for other things. Now I've gone ahead and I've already wiped it, so all of this is actually clean. That's just like some scratches or rusty bits on the bottom that I've already made sure it's clean. I've wiped the bottom as best as I can. It's all clean because I am going to put this on my dining room table. And it's just going to be there as decor. It'll get moved, you know, once we're having our dinner or Christmas breakfast. But in the meantime, it's going to go there, and I really don't want it to be dirty, so I make sure it's nice and clean before I put it on my dining room table. Now, of course, you want to clean it even if you were going to put it somewhere else, but of course you wouldn't have to be as careful. But I'm just making sure that it was clean, so I've already wiped it as best as I could and dried it up. Now in this container I want to put some candles, and I did another centerpiece before in a wood block, and I used some taper candles. This time I've got these short candles. These are about 3 inches tall and about 2 inch wide diameter, I guess. Oh well, yeah, anyway, so these are just short candles, and I got them in red because it's Christmassy and I like red, a traditional red and green Christmas. And then I've got, again, I've got some pine greenery. This is artificial bits. These are from a swag that I used also for another arrangement. And I went ahead and I've cut some more pieces, and these are the good ones that I could find on the swag that are not shedding. The other pieces were shedding like really, really bad, and the shedding is a sign that it's old, it's time to go. Okay, I also have these really pretty berries, and these are just some stems that I had, and some of these are pieces of stem. Not this one, sorry, but this here. See how pretty they are? Little berries, and I'm going to add that in there. I also found while I was at the Dollar Tree, I wanted some little birds, and I had gone on a Sunday, so my favorite craft store was closed, but or at least the closest to me. So I went to the Dollar Tree, and I found these little cardinals, and I found 2 in a pack for $1. Now they're not the greatest looking little birds. They're looking a little bit harsh, like they've been through some heck and back. So you know what, I'm going to dress them up a little bit, so I decided that I'm going to use a little bit of red glitter and a little bit of black glitter, because it has a little bit of a black right under its little beak, and I want to put a little bit of glitter there. So I'm going to lightly brush it. See these little black spots there? I'm sure that's a mistake on there, that's supposed to be, but I'm not going to worry about it. Anyway, I'm going to brush it with a little bit of glue, watered down glue, and then I'm going to sprinkle the glitter, the red glitter first, and then I'm going to do a little bit of the black, and then let them dry before I put them in my arrangement. I also want to put a bow into my arrangement, so I happen to have this ribbon. It's really pretty. It's a wire-edged ribbon. It is red with silver snowflakes and a silver trim. And although I had lots of other ribbons, I thought this would be nice because not only does the red kind of really match the candles, but it's got the silver that mimics the silver on the tin. So I thought that was a nice matchup right there. And also I happen to have some snowflakes here and there in my arrangements within my home. So anyway, to complete this arrangement, my tools or supplies, extra supplies, I'm going to need styrofoam for inside of my tin can, and I will have to trim that to fit just a little bit. I will need my craft scissors to cut my ribbon, wire cutters to cut well, my wire. This is a chenille stem, or you could use floral wire. I've explained before. You could use floral wire and just cut the pieces that you want. But also chenille stems can also be used. And I'm just going to cut this into a little small piece like that to tie my bow. I don't need this whole piece, and whatever is left over, I'm going to put away for another use. Now, chenille stems are awesome because you can use them for lots of little crafts with kids, but you could also use them when you run out of floral wire. Okay, and I'm going to need a brush because I'm going to brush glue onto my little birds, and the glue that I'm going to brush onto them is this Aleene's Tacky Glue. You can use any glue. You could even use like an Elmer's white glue, and you could just water it down just a little bit, not too much, because you don't want to wet the item that you don't want to soak it. You just want to water down so it's not so thick, because I don't want, you know, like a thick layer of glitter falling on my little birds. I just want a thin, so that's why I'm watering it down a bit. I am going to use my glue gun, and I'm going to use some glue sticks. So this is a little mini glue gun. You can use a larger one if you want, and that's normally what I use, but I'm using this little mini glue gun. My sister-in-law brought it over with a little glue stick, so that's what I'm using. And I'm going to need a little knife to cut up my styrofoam, or you can use a little craft saw, but that's what I'm using, a little knife to cut up my styrofoam to fit. Let's put this out of the way. All right, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to decorate those little birds, so I'll be back and show you how I do that. Okay, here we are with our first little bird, and I'm going to take some of this watered down Aleene's Tacky Glue, and I'm going to brush it onto the little bird, the back of the little bird, wings here, all the way down to his little tail here. I'm going to brush it all over, including the sides here. I'm going to try to avoid that little black place, and anywhere I get it that I don't want it, I'm also going to brush it off with my, I'm just going to rub it off with my finger. That's what I mean by brushing it off. And I mean I'm going to brush off the glue. Okay, so now the little wispy little head here. Little feather bits. I'm kind of sort of brushing them as I go because I want to make sure they are down. Okay, I'll worry about the bottom part after. Let's make sure I get this top part where it's really all, remove the excess glue from there, and just make sure it's okay. That's good. Okay, now that I've got the glue on them, or at least one of them for now, I'm now going to sprinkle it with the red, and I'm going to do it right over here where I have my red glitter. And I'm just going to grab some with my fingers and sprinkle it on. All over the little bird, the top of its head, just a little bit here. The sides here, and its little chest here. One more on the side of the head here. Get it on those little feathers right there. The back of its head here, the neck area. I also brushed it. And its little rump. And it's okay that I'm getting all this glitter everywhere because I am going to clean it up. Okay, so I'm going to do the next one, and then I'll do the black. And that's going to be a little tiny little dot there. So I want to make sure, see, it's covered up in a little bit of glitter now. So it looks a little bit better. Anywhere where glitter doesn't stick, I'll just put a little more glue, and then I'm just going to tap it, make sure the excess comes off. That's all I wanted, just to make sure that he didn't look so raggedy, and now he's a little glittery little bird, and I think he looks pretty, and maybe I don't even have to touch up that black spot at all. Maybe I'll just leave him like that. Okay, so now I'm going to do the other little bird, and I will come back and start the arrangement for you. Okay, so here we are. I am now going to put the styrofoam into my tin container, and it's sizing pretty well, and it fits pretty good, but I don't want it sticking out the top. Now, other times it wouldn't really matter because I'm going to cover it with greenery, but I don't want to have to cover it too much. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut it a little bit of an angle on each of these corners. I'm just going to trim it a little bit. Put in a little bit like that, and like that. you can see, the styrofoam was kind of used for something else before, but never really got really used, so it's still got it's still good. Now the next thing is to do is to also trim off. Let's see, this is to trim off this area here so that it's sort of angled. See what I'm doing? I'm cutting it in so it's angled, and I'm going to do the same thing on this other side. Trim off that. Okay, so now I'm going to try it and see how it fits into my container now. And it's, oh, perfectly fit. Now, when you do this, just take off a little bit at a time and fit it in until you've cut just enough, because it's better to cut it and it be tight and you can just push it in rather than it be loose and then it won't adhere to the sides when you add glue. So my next step here would be to add some glue to the edges of my styrofoam. So like that. Now try not to do it while it's floating up in the air like I did. And then drop some glue at the bottom, so it has somewhere to stick to also at the bottom. Grab it from the sides and push it in. And you'll see that there's some glue here on the edges, and that's fine because all that's going to get covered. And I'm just going to push it in all the way. And in order to make sure that it is sticking there, I am going to pour some glue, little glue here and there to make sure. Let me get another glue stick in there. This is why I prefer using my big glue gun. But I'm out of my big glue sticks, and it's the holidays, and I've done a lot of crafts, and I've got to do my Christmas gift shopping, and I don't want to spend too much on supplies for crafts since I'm almost done with my Christmas crafting. I just wanted to do some extra things to leave you all with some tutorials. And now I'm going to add some glue to the bottom of my candle. Now they do sell these little plastic candle holders, and you can buy them in different sizes, and they're like little short cups, and they will have something on the bottom that you can use to push into the styrofoam. And you can buy those at your craft store. You could ask the floral designer or the people working in the floral department for those. I do know that they have them at Michael's, and they probably do have them at Hobby Lobby. And you'll find them in different sizes, whether it's for taper candles or round candles like this. And if you feel better about just putting the candles in there rather than gluing them, but if you don't, you can certainly glue them. And I'm going to put them a little bit separated. And I put the first one first because I want to make sure it was centered. Now, as you can see, the candle's not necessarily resting on the styrofoam, but it is, the majority of it is, so I know that it's balanced while on there. I just didn't want them to be too close together. So now I'm going to do the third one. And I could just use two of them to put two candles in there, but I like to do things in odd numbers, so that is why I'm doing 3. And I had my husband eyeball it, and he said, yeah, three candles. So this is what I decided on, 3 candles. And they're sort of spaced out evenly. I want it to look, you know, really rustic made. Okay, the next thing I want to do is I want to add some of this pine greenery that I have here. Let me grab all of it and get it onto the side. Here we go. Okay, so just like I did the other arrangement that I did on the wood block, if you did see that video, if not, I will link it at the bottom so you have another reference as far as making a centerpiece is concerned. In the same way, we're using this little bits of garland or pine greenery is what it is. You could use a different type of greenery, or artificial, or if you want to use natural. If you want to use natural leaves, then you won't be using this kind of foam, and you won't be hot gluing it. Instead, you will be using an oasis foam, which you will soak in water first, and then you would just put it in there and use some floral tape to tape it down, and that would be like a waterproof floral tape. They have those also at your floral design area in your craft store. And then you could stick natural leaves in there so that the water in there keeps them, you know, a little fresh. And of course, your candles will not be hot glued on there. That's when you will need to find those little cups to put into the styrofoam so that you can put the candles in. Or you could just place them on there and just gently lay them on there and make sure it doesn't get toppled over. And so some short candles are the best way to go. So you don't want to light them up. You don't want anything tipping over and starting a fire, causing some danger. So you want to make sure you don't light them up, because if you are going to light them up, then you need to make sure that they are well placed into your container or whatever. This is a nice sturdy container. It's nice and heavy with the styrofoam in there. Now it's got the candles, so it's nice and heavy. It's not going to topple over, but at the same time, I'm not going to light up these candles. They're just there for decoration. All right, I'm going to start off with some longer pieces. That was my little safety talk. Okay, I'm going to start off with some longer pieces. Speaking of safety talk, you want to keep a bucket of ice water nearby, because we are using a hot glue gun, and cool water at least, and so you can stick your hand in there in case you do get any glue on your fingers or any part of your hand. So you want to make sure you get that as cold as fast as possible, and then you can, any bits of glue that may have fallen on your skin, you can then take it off after you've put your hand in the ice water. Otherwise, don't peel it off while it's still hot. It will be a mess and way worse, and it just, the initial burn. Okay, so here we go. We're going to use these artificial pieces. You can use any type of greenery. I'm going to be using these pine that I'm reusing, and I'm going to add glue, and I'm going to be sticking them into the sides here to begin with, because I want to create some length. So let's start doing that. Let's start building this up. I am going to look getting these longer pieces, sticking them into the styrofoam, and then I'm going to bend them downward, and I'm going to bend it through this little handle thing that's right here, just because I kind of want to have this little handle kind of upward there. Okay, same on the other side. Now they do sell floral picks that have little wooden floral picks that have a little bit of wire on them, and you could then take those little floral picks and put them onto the bottom edge of your greenery, and then wrap up the wire and create a nice little pick that you can just stick in there. But as you can see, you don't even have to do that. I am doing here some crafts with as minimal supplies as I possibly can, because this is just a temporary I guess it's a decoration. It's a temporary decoration, and I'm not selling this. This is for myself, so I don't have to use all the official tools and supplies to create this. This is something that you could do at home, and in order to make it less complicated for you, this is how I'm telling you you can do this. Now, if you wanted to make it more professional, then get yourself all the proper supplies. But in the meantime, this is the way we're going to do it. Okay, so I'm just sticking some long pieces, and I'm kind of bending them down and kind of curling the edges upward. I got some glue on some of these, so I'm making sure I'm taking that off. Okay, and sorry that I'm making noise rubbing up against my mat here as I turn it around. And I'm just making sure that the styrofoam that's in there is covered, and that I don't see it, and I don't, and one of my candles just fell off. And this is exactly why I'm not going to light them. Put glue on it. The reason it came off is because it has a little paper on the bottom, and I put the glue on the paper to glue them down. So now they're sliding off of the paper. Okay, so you want to make sure you don't do that. Okay, so now I'm going to get, and what I've done is I've worked in threes, so on each side I've got 3 stems coming out. Here's 3, you can see there, and then you can see 3 on the other side. You sort of kind of work in odd numbers. Now I want to start off by also having some stems coming off the sides here, so I'm going to shorten these. Oops, sorry. I'm going to shorten these because they're a little long. Excuse me. I always do this. I always knock it down. Okay. I'm going to shorten some of these long pieces because I don't need them that long anymore. A little piece like that. Put some glue. And same on the other side. I've already got a little piece that's short here. Put it on the other side. Okay, and I'm going to continue doing this till I have satisfactorily filled it up. And I will come back and show you how that looks. And I'm back, and I have filled quite a bit of my arrangement. I still see some little spots where I can see the styrofoam between the little branches there. So what I'm doing now is taking these little pieces, little tiny pieces like that, even short little bits like that, and I'm going to just put some glue on them. And rather than sticking them into the styrofoam, I'm just laying them on top of the other bits of pine, and having them glued down onto them just to cover where I still see green from my styrofoam, or white if I was using white styrofoam. Turn it around, do the same on the other side, and then I'm going to look at it through the top and see if we see any more through the top. And at this point, I'm not even like evenly, like looking on doing the same as I do on one side that I do to the other. I'm just looking for areas, little ball spots, if you will. Put some more glue in my gun here. There was a spot right here. And right here. And then of course I'm going to add some little berries, so that's also going to help to hide some of that. But, okay, let's take a look at this. Going over through the top. And as you can see, I think it's well covered. I don't see any of the green styrofoam. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to add some berries into the arrangement. And add these, let me get all this greenery out of the way. And by getting out of the way, I mean throwing it on the floor. Okay, so now I've got these little stems, and I don't need them to be this long, so some of it is just kind of falling apart because they are old stems. And they've got these little bits that are supposed to be curls, so I'm just going to curl them with my fingers there. Do this other one here. And fix it up pretty. Spread them out a little bit. Spread them out. So when you get yourself a little berry stem, when you buy them at the craft store, because they are wired, sometimes they'll just be bent inward or too flat onto the branch. So just pull them out, spread them out a little bit, make it look a little bit prettier, more open. So now I'm going to add some glue to the tips here, and then I'm going to go ahead and start inserting the berries into my arrangement. I'm going to add some on this side. And just bend if I need to. Okay. Get another stem. Do the same thing that I did to that one and curl up these little bits. See? Okay. Do the same over here. As you can see, it's just a little stick coming out. And on some of them, it was already curled, and some of them are just straight. So I went ahead and just curled it a little bit, just twirled it around. And they're not dirty. As you can see, I'm putting my fingers over it. They're not dusty. That's just the effect that they have on them to kind of give them, I guess, a natural look. All right, let's turn this around. Put one on this side. There we go. And I want to repeat, adding some more. So I need another stem. Now you could just get all these little stems ready way before you start try putting any them in there. But I don't really want to cut up that large stem piece, so I don't want to. So that's why I'm doing a little bit at a time. Put some on the other side here. That little piece, and I'm doing that off camera. Here we go, just fixing up, making them look a little bit better, because I've had them for a while and they've kind of been crushed a little bit, and some of them are sort of kind of falling apart on me. Okay, into here, and just, as you can see, it's starting to look pretty because it's got all them little berries. And I don't want to forget that I do have those two little birds, and I think I'm going to put one on this side and one on the other side. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Here we go. I've got one right here, and you can see. Now, what I don't need are these little feet on them, so I'm going to go ahead and pull those out. Let me get that out. Trim them off. Add some glue to the bottom of my bird. They're not exactly dry yet, so getting some glitter on my fingers here. So that's okay. I'm just going to glue them to the side like that. And I'm going to glue one on the other side as well. And I also want to take his little feet off. So what I was doing, oops, is just getting my wire cutters and trimming them off, because I'm not going to need them, and I don't want them to make the bird stand up any higher than I wanted to, so I'm just trimming them off. There we go. Rest them on the little branches, and now I can get like little smaller clusters of berries. Smaller bits here. Trim that off. Glue, and then just stick them in there. Isn't that pretty? I'll do that on the other side as well. Let's do the other little bird. And don't forget that I do also want to add a ribboned bow. So that's another element that I'm going to be adding into my arrangement. And I don't want them to be really big bows or anything, so I'm going to make those small bows. And I'm going to go ahead and do that right after I add this little piece here. Now wait till it dries really nice, and then any little webs, little strings of from your glue gun, then you can pull them off. Okay. All right, I've got my ribbon and the chenille stem that I'm going to use to create a bow, and I just want a 3-looped bow, maybe just 2 loops. Okay, first I'm going to decide that I want a little tail about that long. I kind of wanted to kind of do this. Okay, I'm going to do it about, let's see, how many inches is that? 9, so I'm going to go ahead and go with a 10 inch. 10 inches of ribbon. Pinch it. Make a loop. Not too big, little small loops. And these are 2-inch loops. 2 inches like that, so all together we 4 inches of ribbon. So twist and make another loop. Pinch it, twist, pinch and twist again until you have 3 loops, and that's all I need. It's 3 loops, and then I'm going to have a very short little tail on the other side, which is going to be maybe about 3 or 4 inches. I am going to use a little bit of the this chenille. Now I'm not going to need much of this. Now if I wanted to do, again, complete professionally done, I could use those little wood picks that I was telling you that come with wire on them. They're little wood floral picks is what they're called, and so that you could attach them to any item, and then you could use the little pick to push into styrofoam. Now this is something that we're doing at home, and we're taking into account that we may not have all those supplies, so I'm just doing it the best way I can, so that you can also do this at home without having to purchase so many supplies. Especially if you're not going to do too many of these arrangements, and you don't need a big bag of this or that and so forth. Okay, I'm going to push this little bow in there, and I just put some glue underneath it so that it would attach itself to some of the greenery in here. And like I said, I'm not going to light these candles, so this little end of my bow can stick out. Otherwise, I want this other tail kind of going out that way. And this is why I like wire edge ribbon, because I can scrunch up my ribbon and have it look pretty. See how pretty that looks? Flowing on the side of that. Now I'm going to do one for the other side. And I'm going to do the same thing. So I need 10 inches of tail. Pinch. Make a 2-inch loop. pinch, twist, another little loop, pinch, twist, and a third loop, and then about 3 or 4 inches, a little piece of chenille to tie around, and twist, trim it off, get my ends, fold them, from the fold up to the ends, cut to get this little tail, and then the same to the other one, and the fold up to the ends, and boom, there we go. Okay, now we can just poof it up a little bit. We're going to make a little room here for our bow. I'm going to add some glue to this, flatten it up. I'm going to add some glue to this bottom part and just tuck it in there. Make sure you don't get your fingers in the glue, so be careful. You can use the tip of your scissors to push it in, and then just let it dry. I'm going to kind of crinkle up this little tail here and tuck it in. There we go, just like that. And then we'll let this dry before we try to, do any more poofing to it. So I'm going to leave it alone for now. I feel like I need more over here to kind of balance it out. So I'm going to add a few more little berries. I got a little cluster of 3 here. And add some glue to the stem part. I'll tuck that in. And I'll do the same to the other side. I'm going to wait till my bow is dry on there, because if I try to poof it right now, I may end up pulling it out, and it's just a nasty party. Now, if I got 3 little pieces like that, I can take the bottom wire of one of them and twist it around the other 2, so that now I have a little stem. Bend the little stem a little bit, add some glue to it, and then stick it somewhere in there, just to fill in. There we go. I'm going to let that dry before we try to move it. But in the meantime, you can see that is our finished arrangement. And isn't it pretty? Look at that. Let's go ahead and look at it. Alright, well, I hope you enjoyed this arrangement tutorial, and I hope that you will be inspired to create something similar, if not the same. And if you will, please like my video and leave your comments down below. Tell me what you thought of the idea, if you would change anything on it. Let me know if you were inspired to create the same thing or something similar. Also, please subscribe to my channel and enjoy.